Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update on the current situation in Spain. Day 125 and lots of things happening, lots of news about the situation. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as always. Thanks to people that supported the channel through a small donation. You can see your names here. Thanks to the people that bought merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your support. Now let's get into some of the news that has caught my attention over the last couple of days. Lots of talk today about Barcelona, which we'll get to in just a minute. But the first thing that caught my attention relates to the fines that were given out during the confinement period, and the fact that the first fine that was given out for a breach of the confinement rules has been overturned by a judge. We can see here that that first fine for a breach of confinement has been annulled by a judge. The person fined was driving and he was on his way to take care of his grandmother when he was stopped by police and fined. And we can see here that legal experts warned him from the start that they were not clear that the sanctions imposed during the state of alarm were legal. It's the first that cancels a fine for breach of confinement. The fines management company De Vuelta has managed to get a court to overturn the actions of the police against an individual for supposedly violating the confinement regulations in force during the state of alarm. Now, if you were fined during that state of alarm period, you can get in contact with companies that will appeal on your behalf. And there is a chance, of course, based on this man's appeal and the subsequent overturning of the fine, that other fines could also be overturned. So something worth looking into if you were fined, and there were many fines handed out during that period here in Spain. Now, the WHO has again paid tribute for Spain of their handling of the COVID-19 crisis. We can see here that the WHO Director General said on Thursday that Spain has shown that with political leadership and action backed by community support, the coronavirus can be controlled no matter at what stage virus transmission is in a country. From being greatly challenged, Spain has reversed the trajectory of the outbreak. In late March and early April, Spain was reporting as many as 10,000 new cases a day. Tedros gave credit to both the Spanish government and people for adhering to tough restrictions, including that by the WHO, including what the WHO says have been robust surveillance, testing, contact tracing, treatment, and isolation. So the Spanish government, again, no doubt patting themselves on the back because of the praise given to them by the WHO. Now, some more news related to the health situation here in Spain, and it is that a campsite in the Basque Country has been closed because of 2 positive cases. We can see here that a campsite in Zarautz with 250 clients has closed because of these 2 cases. Police patrols are preventing anyone from entering or leaving without permission. As reported to news agency EFE, the mayor of this town said clients, most of them very young and even some of them minors, will not have the obligation to remain confined inside the campsite, but once subjected to the PCR test, they will return to their homes after signing a commitment that they will remain isolated in them until they know the results of the tests. So a couple of people testing positive here has thrown a spanner in the works for 250 people on holidays at a campsite in the Basque Country. And other outbreaks among young people has led to new security measures in the Basque Country. Now, as I said before, the city of Barcelona and its surroundings are back in the news today. We can see here that the government there has prohibited get-togethers of more than 10 people and is going to limit nightlife in Barcelona and its metropolitan area. The measures announced by the Catalan government affect about 4 million people. Andalusia has also confirmed an outbreak in Córdoba associated with a nightclub where some 400 people were, and the use of masks will be mandatory in Castilla-La Mancha from next week. So again, some more news there to show that this problem is slowly spreading throughout places like Barcelona, and the government also recommends that residents of that city and its metropolitan area only leave home if necessary. Voluntary measures on mobility will last 15 days. The Minister of Health asks that social gatherings, nightlife and cultural activities be avoided. So not good news for people in that part of Spain. And also, again, as we saw, masks mandatory in Castilla-La Mancha as of next Monday. So that list of places where masks are mandatory here in Spain continues to grow. Now we'll have a quick look on where these outbreaks are in Spain, as we have been doing over the last couple of days. We can see here on the map that the north of Spain and that Mediterranean corridor Lots and lots of outbreaks there. The outbreaks in Spain have shot up the number of infections, and you have to go back to May 22nd to find in official statistics such high data for a single day. There were 580 new cases in Spain yesterday, Thursday. New cases continue to grow, reaching 580 new cases in the last 24 hours, 70% of which have been registered in Aragon and Catalonia, which are the most worrying outbreaks of the 158 that are still active throughout Spain. Now, a lot of people probably asking what exactly constitutes an outbreak here in Spain, how many people need to be infected, and we can see here that the health department considers a regrowth, which is what they call it in Spanish, or an outbreak, any grouping of 3 or more confirmed or probable cases with active infection in which an epidemiological link has been established. So there we go, 3 or more confirmed or probable cases are what constitutes an outbreak here in Spain at the moment. Now, another piece of news that caught my attention is the fact that nearly 100,000 mink are going to be culled because of a virus outbreak. We can see here that the Agriculture Minister says that the origins of the outbreak are unclear after 7 farm workers and 87% of the mink test positive. Spain has ordered the culling of nearly 100,000 mink on a farm after confirming many were carrying the virus, a regional minister said on Thursday. Officials suspect that the virus first reached the farm through a worker who passed it on to the animals, but the agriculture minister said it was not completely clear if transmission was possible from animals to humans and vice versa. So there we go, a very strange piece of news there, considering that so many of these animals have tested positive. I don't know how they carried out tests on 93,000 animals, but I'm sure somebody will know the answer, so leave it in the comment section below. And finally, a piece of news related to the tourism sector and the problems that it is facing. A high-ranking official for the IMF, Mr. Melesi Ferretti, has come out and said that we do not know to what extent tourism will return to Spain. So some more bad news there for the tourist sector and the uncertainty that it faces in this country at the moment, and the IMF coming out with a negative outlook there for the future. Now let's have a look at some of the comments that caught my attention from the last video. First one here from Renee. I live in Catalonia. Just to be clear, no one is enforcing the rule that you have to wear a mask. However, many people are wearing them, but not all. Young people especially often have them on their elbows and around their necks. The government could make a lot of money in fines if they wanted to. Yeah, Renee, thanks for the comment. Gives us an idea of what's happening in Barcelona. Obviously, masks have been mandatory there for the past week or so. But as you mentioned here, nobody is enforcing the rule, which is surprising considering that Barcelona is going into a semi-lockdown or a lockdown of some sort. We saw before that the government is recommending people don't leave their homes, and maybe it's impossible for the police to stop everybody who is not adhering to the mask wearing rules at the moment, or maybe they're a bit too complicated and difficult to enforce. Another one here from 2 Bods 1 Van. We live in the Valencia region. As of yet, mask wearing is not compulsory. However, people are being very responsible. You cannot go into any type of shop without a mask on, and a high percentage of people are still wearing masks in cars. 2 days ago, I was stopped in my camper van by the police. I put my mask on to speak to them, but I was then waved through. Think they are making sure you have a mask with you in case you come into contact with others. Yeah, thanks for the comment. Valencia, obviously one of the few regions in Spain where mask wearing is not mandatory. Madrid also, but as we saw, Castilla-La Mancha going to change that rule as of next week, and I'm sure that it's just a question of time before Madrid, Valencia and areas that don't have this rule in place at the moment will change. And you're right, even in Madrid it's impossible to go into any shop without a mask on, and as I have said over the last few weeks, you should always have a mask on you just in case, even if it's not mandatory, and even if you don't think you're breaking those social distancing rules, just in case you get stopped by the police, as happened to you last week. One here from Small Minded. Maybe the government should increase the tax on alcohol as part of its austerity measures, or at least increase the tax on alcohol bought in tourist areas. Yeah, thanks for the comment. That could be one of the ways to stop alcohol tourism here in this country. As we have seen in recent videos, various places in Spain are a little bit out of control at the moment. Bit of controversy regarding Magaluf. I read in the paper yesterday that the government has decided to close down the strip in that particular part of the world. A lot of people questioning the video that was going around the other day of people jumping on cars, saying that it was fake news, but there have been other videos circulating on social media of people partying a little bit too hard given the times that we are living at the moment. And as we saw in Cordoba, that problem they had there at a nightclub with 400 people. So yeah, maybe the government will consider putting more tax on alcohol in certain areas, but hopefully we won't get a full alcohol ban like they have in South Africa at the moment and some other countries around the world. One here from Bajan, great updates as always. The comments here seem a bit crazy. You're telling me. One here from Amanda, hi Stuart, thanks and keep the updates coming. We are now only a couple of weeks away from moving to inland Andalusia and hope that the borders remain open. Both Spain and Greece, where we are now, have been strict with the rules and it has saved lives. People who complain about wearing masks are the same type that years ago refused to wear seatbelts or bike helmets. You can't fix stupid. Yeah, Amanda, thanks for the comment. And you're right, that's a pretty good analogy of what's going on at the moment. I hope your move to Andalusia goes well and that the borders do stay open and allow you to come in. As we have mentioned, there's no talk of the borders closing for the time being. The lockdowns or the confinements are restricted to certain areas in Spain. And of course, if the situation gets out of control in other parts of Spain, you might see a lockdown there. But I don't think that the international borders are going to close anytime soon, or at least that's what I'm hoping, because I'm going to have a problem getting back home if they decide to close the border with Portugal again, for example. One here from Anne. Hi Stuart, we love your info videos. You are in our books the best. Please keep it up. Regarding the louts, we say whatever is left of their holiday should be spent in the local jail until it's time for them to leave, plus the fine and whatever the law decides. Like we say, keep up the good work. Stay safe, you and yours. Anne and Paul, Alicante. Yeah, and thanks for the comment. I suppose there are people that are stuck in places that have been shut down, people that have traveled to holiday resorts, and of course more restrictions have come in place, and of course the dynamics of their holiday has most likely changed. Probably a little bit strict to throw them in jail, but it's probably time that some people need to get it in their heads that it's not the time to be full on partying when there is such a health problem still around in Spain at the moment. One here from Kerry. Hi Stuart, we will be driving to Spain next week. We have heard that we need to complete the SPTH form. However, this asks for a flight number, something that we don't have. Do you know of another way that we will be able to register? As worried we will not be allowed into Spain without the correct documentation. Thanks for your help. Love your informative videos. Yeah, hi Kerry, thanks for the comment. No. There are no controls on borders. Yesterday I crossed the border into Portugal. There were no controls at all. So if you're traveling by car, I don't think you're going to have to fill out that form. It's only for people coming into ports, airports, seaports, etc. Those are the people that need to fill in the form. Coming into Portugal, as I said, there were no controls. Only saw one police car the whole trip, and that was a Guardia Civil car on the border in Extremadura. Didn't see any police, didn't see any GNR, which are the Portuguese equivalent of the civil guard, on our trip here yesterday. So you should be okay if you're coming to Spain by car. But again, if anybody knows anything different, leave it in the comments section. And finally, one here from Owen. I will support what Spain is doing. I live here. But what on earth are certain places playing at trying to enforce wearing of masks on a flipping beach? They want to get tourism back, but they are driving people away with some of these ridiculous rules. No sense. Yo, and thanks for the comment. Good to see you are supporting what the country is doing. You're right, it doesn't really make much sense to wear masks at the beach, but of course that's the law that has come in. I think in the Balearic Islands you don't have to wear a mask if you are at the beach or a swimming pool, but of course different areas in Spain, different rules and regulations, which makes it very, very confusing. You have to know what the specific rules are in each area, and of course where you have to wear a mask, where you don't have to wear a mask, and of course, as we have said, there are some places where the use of masks is not yet mandatory. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Let's limit the abuse. I've seen a couple of people calling other people Muppets. As I've said in other videos, let's try and leave that abuse out or you'll be banned from the comments section. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. See you in the next one. Hasta luego.